Hello everyone and welcome to a most interesting game from the 1939 Buenos Aires Olympiad. It was a team event and it's a game between Jose Raul Capablanca and Moshe Czerniak, a very strong Polish-Israeli grandmaster. It was suggested to me by Jose Carlos Santos via email, so thank you for that. It's a very nice game, and of course we did not cover it during the Capablanca saga because the Capablanca saga only gets to the part where Capablanca defeats Lasker and that's it. So we don't have any games after that. So maybe at some point I'm gonna do a post Capablanca saga that duels with the years after that match. But for now we don't have that. So this is one of the games, and it's a most interesting one featuring a very special move, as you'll see in the game. So this we even have a photo of the event. This is not from this game. They played two games. So as you can see here, Capablanca has the black pieces, but you can enjoy the photo a little bit. You can see there's quite the crowd has gathered here, as they usually did for chess events in those days. Nowadays we just sit in front of our screens and enjoy bullet games. If you check out the quote above the board, it says, "I can see the headlines, Capablanca's getting old." Capablanca said this about himself after the first game because he gained the winning advantage, but he failed to gain the full point, he just wasn't very happy about that, and he said that next day the newspapers will write about that, how he's gotten sloppy over the years. But after seeing the second game, that will not be the case. So let's check it out and see what happens. So Capablanca with the white pieces opens with e4. We have c6. Czerniak goes for the Karl Khan defense. We have d4, d5. And Capablanca goes for the exchange variation of the Karl Khan. Captures, and now c4, the pawn of attack, or the pawn of Botvinnik attack. Knight to c6, knight to f3, and pinning the knight with bishop to g4. Capablanca trades in the center here with c captures on d4, and it's all with the very good reason of gaining a tempo. Queen captures, knight to c3, not the bishop obviously will win a tempo at some point. So queen captures, and now not knight to c3 right away, because that would allow black to just capture here. And even though it's a very interesting line, Capablanca doesn't really think it's worth it. For example, knight c7 check, king d7, knight captures on a8. Yes, you pick up the rook, but after the bishop moves, black will just pick up the knight, and well, he will have two knights for that rook on a1. Not something Capablanca wants to play. So instead, bishop to e2, defending. And now, of course, there's a little trick in the position, and I've seen many people fall for this. The point is, if you capture now with the idea of capturing the d4 pawn, you could do this, but bishop captures on c6 check just removes the defender of the queen, and that's it. White wins the game. So of course black did not play that. Black played e6. We have castles, and now knight to f6. We have knight to c3, finally gaining that tempo. Queen to a5, and now h3, attacking the bishop, bishop h5, and now a3. So slowly playing it, preparing b4 at some point. We have rook to d8, and now the position has been reached many times, even in modern chess, but nowadays the engine gives the bishop to e3 as the absolute strongest move, although the engine says it's only slightly better than the move Capablanca played. Capablanca played g4 here. So incredibly sharp, opening up his king's position like this. But then again, who are you going to trust, an engine or Capablanca? So here we have bishop to g6, and interestingly, as of move 12, this position has never been reached again. So bishop back to g6, and now comes Capablanca's idea. So first g4 and now b4. And I always try to emphasize the importance of b4 in every chess game, because it can be such a game changer, and this is no different. And what can black do here? Well, obviously black can capture on b4, and if pawn captures, you can capture the rook on a1. So why is Capablanca giving up the pawn? Well, he obviously thought of something, and the best for black is to just move the queen, but black decided to accept the challenge, and you can't just accept the challenge without really studying the position. So he studied the position well, and he decided to accept Capablanca's challenge. So a captures, and he picks up the rook on a1, and now feel free to pause the video and try to find Capablanca's idea and what he had in mind while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on being a great visionary as usual. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it's queen to b3. Now we're threatening to move the bishop, hopefully to a3, and to win black's queen. So this is something that Czerniak had to, well, spot in order to accept the rook on a1. So what did he find? Obviously not that. He played rook captures on d4. The point being that if knight captures on d4 and knight captures, bishop to b5 check, let's say, because the white queen is attacked, and now we can have a trade here. Captures, captures, black castles, and the queen on a1 is very happy. There's no way to trap it. There are many squares that the queen can use to escape, and black will be better here. So Capablanca continues with his plan, bishop to a3. Now the queen is hanging, and now what did black have in mind here? Well, bishop to c2. He wants to get the queen away from the defense of the bishop here, and of course if rook captures, we're just going to capture the queen on b3. And Capablanca captures the bishop. He decides to give up the bishop on a3, even though he could go for the endgame, but it's such a tricky endgame that, I don't know, if you guys want to even see it, I'm going to show it to you. I know some of you want to see it. So captures, captures, now b5, pushing the knight back, but now bishop to d5, attacking the knight on f3, b captures on c6, bishop captures on f3, we have bishop captures on f3, and now rook to d3 with an attack on the bishop and the knight. Now c captures on b7, threatening promotion, and now you can't castle because the bishop covers e7 and f8, so you have to move the king to d7, but now the problem is rook to d1, and you will prevent the rook from capturing either of the pieces. So let's say captures, captures, now king to c6, and this is the endgame that would be reached if both players played it perfectly. So it's not a lot, but you do have two bishops for a rook, and okay, you will lose this pass pawn, but black is up 2 pawns, so maybe white can push for something here. Capablanca didn't think so, so instead he played queen captures on c2. We have queen captures on a3, and now knight to b5. So this was I think all of this was Capablanca's plan all the way in the moment when he played that b4 move. The problem is it's possible to defend this, but only if you spot the most disgusting engine line ever seen. And I'm going to show it to you guys. You can even pause the video if you want, but it's such a disgusting line. Better maybe not even try. So here the idea is that if black played queen captures on b4, but if you want to survive this, you have to play rook captures on g4. Now after h captures, you have to play queen captures on b4. Now go for this pawn on g4, and now knight e5. Now the pawn is sufficiently defended. You are attacking the c6 knight, and of course the knight cannot move because you can't allow queen to c8 check. So here black would castle, and after, let's say, knight captures b captures, attacking the knight, we're just going to capture on c6. Knight will capture on g4, and we get this position where it's perfectly fine, you know, for black. Nothing wrong here. You still have your pawn here, and well, you just continue. If knight captures on a7, you just start h5, h4, h3, and maybe something happens. So it was possible to defend this, but you have to spot this rook captures on g4 move. In the game, queen captures on b4 was played. This is the second best move, but yeah, it is not enough. Knight captures on d4 was played, knight captures on d4, and now again knight captures on d4, preventing black from capturing on d4 because queen to c8 check, queen to d8, and now bishop to b5 check, king to e7, now queen captures on b7 check, and after you move the king somewhere, doesn't really matter, we're just going to bring the rook here, play rook c8, and that's it, game over. So after knight captures on d4, black said, all right, I can't grab the knight, I'm just going to castle, so you are up a piece, but I have two connected pass pawns, so I'm of course going to start pushing them. So here we have rook to d1, and now what black failed to do is that he failed to start pushing those pawns. That's what pass pawns are for. You have to push them, otherwise they're pretty much useless. He went knight to d5 first, probably interested in knight to f4, going for the bishop, maybe the h3 pawn, maybe trying to sneak the queen in somehow. So bishop to f3, getting rid of both threats, knight to f4, and now king to h2, defending on h3. We have e5, attacking the knight here, and knight to f5. So you can see by trying to create something here, black fails to do what he should have done, and that's pushing the pass pawn. So here he plays g6, creates another weakness. Yes, you kick away the knight from f5, but you weaken the f6 square, and Capablanca will of course get the knight to f6 as soon as possible. Knight to e3, we have knight to e6, and now knight to d5. So that f6 square is now very, very weak. Queen to a3, attacking the bishop on f3, and now rook d3 defending. We have queen a1, rook to d1 attacks the queen, queen back to a3, Capablanca repeats rook to d3, queen a1, but now of course he doesn't repeat, he plays queen to d2. And now, what can black play? Well, now, if you just start pushing, for example, with a5, then queen to h6, and now, how do you defend against knight to f6? It's just very, very ugly. So instead we have king to g7, blocking this queen h6 move, and now queen to e2, putting pressure on this e5 pawn. So f6 defending it, so you can move the black queen from a1, and now queen to e3. Again, every move with a threat. Rook to a3 now is the threat of winning that a7 pawn. So a6, and now rook back to d1, attacking the black queen, queen b2, and now knight to c3. We have knight to d4, now putting pressure on this bishop here. So you have to be very careful. Okay, the queen is defending the bishop, but that can change very, very quickly. So here Capablanca just played rook to b1. Now the queen has to move. You're going to pick up the b7 pawn. And black probably thought, okay, I'm just going to move the queen, and Capablanca will pick up the b7 pawn. But he played queen to c2, and this just makes it all the more easier for Capablanca to win this game on the spot. He did not play rook captures on b7. Instead, he played bishop to e4, and he was in this position on move 36 that Moshe Czerniak resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. So the queen is trapped. You can see that all of these squares are covered. This is covered by the rook, by the knight, by the rook, by the knight, by the queen, and well, there's just nowhere for this queen to go, and it's an easy move to miss if you're thinking, okay, he's going after the b7 pawn, but regardless of the move, the position was completely lost. So here we see Capablanca playing in sort of in great style, starting after this rook to d8 move. So first, I mean, look at this, imagine this, g4 bishop g6 b4, playing h3 g4 a3 b4. This is not something you see every day, and luckily his opponent did not back down from a challenge. He accepted it, he grabbed the rook, but then Capablanca showed that he was just a better player in the given position. Even though there was that one disgusting engine line where Czerniak could have fought back, but those are the kind of lines that you had to spot in order to stand up to Capablanca. So okay, he drew the first game, but he wins the second one, and I guess the headlines will not be writing anything tomorrow other than Capablanca unleashes a brilliant 14-move combination starting with b4. That's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and thank you again, Jose Carlos Santos, for suggesting such a wonderful game. Thank you very much for that. Like I said, do join us tomorrow in the arena. There are over 1,000 players registered. The link is in the description below, so do join us. We're gonna have a lot of fun. I'm gonna stream all the games. Of course, not all of them, but as many as I can, and we're gonna have a good time. I'm gonna be reading the chat quite a lot, so you guys are free to ask anything. I'm gonna try and reply to as many questions as possible, or just comments, or whatever you guys are doing at the moment. Once again, hope you guys enjoyed it. Let's check out this photo one more time. There you have it. Very, very nice. I would like to thank We Were Sky Music, Emmanuel Freitzel, Duncan Weinkel, William Fuller, and D. Ayub for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing the coverage of everything that's happening in the chess world, and of course, checking up on your wonderful suggestions. Thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.